Welcome back to another podcast by yours truly,
The Thought
Observatory.
Bum, bum, bum.
We are back again with yet another podcast. As you can see, we took away video. We're just doing audio right now as we are currently in my apartment room. We have actually lost the area in which to do our podcast, as now I have a new roommate, so we can't as efficiently go out and make our podcast in the living room.
We're more secluded.
Yes.
We can gather our thoughts in here and tell the world how we feel.
We're just a bunch of respectful gentlemen here, so we're just trying to make do, and right now, again, we're in my apartment room doing what we do best.
And we apologize. We've been kind of, we've been kind of MIA lately.
A little MIA, as we're working on things, though. I mean, of course, we're doing the whole video thing here. You know, we're doing just audio, but in the meantime, from our last podcast, I don't even know when that's been. When was that?
Oh, man, it's been that was February.
Months? Yeah.
Months. Last time you saw us, we had Joey along.
Yeah. Good old Ghibli McGuire is what we call him. Good old Gibless. Now, we've been working on things since then. Of course, we had the audio version rolling now. We're working on a website. Of course, that's easier said than done. You have to pay I don't know if it's like a monthly subscription or a yearly one, which it doesn't cost too much, but we're certainly working on that for you guys, for your listening pleasure. Right now, you're just going to have to settle with YouTube. And of course, I always try to reiterate this. You don't have to really watch the video. You don't have to sit there and look at your screen. You can set your phone down, or you can sit by your laptop and just listen to this while you write or whatever the hell you're doing.
That's
doesn't
so true,
really
though.
matter. Yeah,
it's so true though, because it doesn't just have to be video. It can be audio.
Exactly.
You can enjoy it both ways. You can listen to it. It's like a song, you know.
And well, I think that's where we're going to see our podcast go to, especially once we go to the whole website thing. It's going to mainly be audio, and that's all it's going to be. Really, with going to the website. So hopefully at some point we'll get to iTunes. I don't know the whole procedure behind that. I've tried looking it up, and it's also actually a kind of a complicated...
Is it a pain in the ass?
Right, yeah, kind of. I mean, obviously we'll get through it, but yeah, I think this sort of leads into our first topic on the Plateau Effect. If anyone's really heard of that, the Plateau Effect. Now, Cole, what do you think about the Plateau Effect? Like, what comes to mind?
I mean, just with my own experiences, it's kind of hard to deny. Like, I think everybody hits some point in their life. Like, it could be so simple of, like something from like a routine that you're in. It could be going to work every day. It could be then like you go and work out and then you go home and then your day is done. It could be working out. It could be in the gym. You may be getting stronger. You may be going through a period in time when your body's not used to that sort of exposure. So, I mean, last summer, I started working out a lot, and I got to this point where it was like, I had worked so hard. I had gotten a lot stronger. And it's not to say that I wasn't doing bad. It's just doing that over and over and over again for your body.
Kind of getting stuck in a rut.
It's taxing. You have to switch things up. So with the Plateau Effect in mind, I just think that it's real, and it's something that everybody can relate to, because everybody has been through a point in their life where, like I said, whether it be from like routine to working out, that they get stuck in a rut.
Right.
And sometimes it's hard to get out. So you got to switch up things. You got to do things differently. You got to test with like, what makes you happy. If something's not working, if you feel like you work better, you think better in the day by doing something different, then keep trying that out. You know what I mean? Like, just switch it up. It's never one thing.
Exactly. Well, and I think you make some good points there. With the Plateau Effect, I think that it's a lot... it's a physical thing, but it's also a mental thing in nature. It's like something you get stuck in this rut, and like, I mean, mentally it's just taxing. Like with our podcast here, we ran into a bit of a Plateau Effect as far as like trying to reach people. We really only had YouTube, so that's where our next step in this journey is going, is to the website. And so as far as the Plateau Effect, getting outside of that, for those of you that don't really know what it is, essentially like what we just said, it's like you're getting yourself in a rut in the mental aspect, but then in the physical side of things, like if you're weightlifting, or if you're or if you're doing like cardio and stuff, like doing any sort of like working out material, just as an example, at some point you realize, if you're trying to lose weight, you've lost all this weight, but at some point you're not losing that weight anymore. If you're weightlifting, you've built on all this muscle and everything, and you're feeling pretty confident, but you're unable to gain more muscle. It seems like you've hit this point where you just can't get past it and you're not sure what the hell to do.
Right.
The plateau effect has everything to deal with that, and it's not something that's really spoken of very much. At least, it's something that's subconscious, it's not really on your mind, 24/7. Whereas I think, we should all be thinking of that, because the plateau effect, it doesn't just affect your workouts. It affects, every daily activity that you go through, like especially with work too. People become complacent on that nature, and in my eyes, that's a sense of like giving up.
Yeah.
Almost, you hit this point in your work, or be it whatever. Again, there's a lot of examples that go into this, but at some point, people realize that they've hit this rut, and they're not sure where to go, and it's very deceiving. It's very scary once you hit that point, and people just all of a sudden give up, and they say, "Hey, I'm fine with where I'm at. I don't want to try any harder."
Right.
Whereas if you want to get past that plateau effect, if you want to experience some new happiness, some new confidence, whatever, you need to find a way around that. And sometimes it's not readily right in front of you. That answer isn't just right there.
No.
You have to keep searching. And so, again, be it if it's your job, or if you're trying to work out, whatever it is that you're doing, you're trying to excel at, to get better, you need to find that avenue to go down. You need to change things up. Just like, let's say you are working out, you've been doing this workout for a while now. You aren't seeing the results that you had first seen when you first started working out, or whatever. You need to change things up. Like, say, Cole and I were huge. We like to weightlift and stuff. At some point, we hit this plateau effect where we couldn't progress anymore, and from there on, you can start working, or you can start looking at different workouts, doing different things. So at some point, you can see different results. I think they have a quote on Madness where if you repeat the same thing and expect different results, that is the very idea of madness. And at some point, that ties in directly to the plateau effect. If you keep doing the same thing over and over, at some point you're gonna get stuck in the mud.
And I don't think routine is necessarily bad. I think routine is good, especially for like a certain amount of time, and you're able to handle that. And like the best example, like again, I can give that a lot of people would relate to is lifting. Like, you get in a routine, or you get on a program. A program could be a month, it could be 2 months, it could be all summer, like it could be an extended period of time where you're constantly getting stronger. But then, that routine at some point just becomes so static. You've been using that same technique for so long. And I don't know, that kind of goes back to lifting though, like technique on a workout.
Exactly.
There shouldn't always be these like parameters set around a workout. Like,
right. Well, and every person's different too. So that's what makes it hard. And I think that's another thing to take away from this too, is that with the plateau effect, as we've said before, it applies to a lot of different things, even if it's like your relationship, even, to keep things interesting, to keep each other, motivated to continue with this relationship and whatnot, to keep things from going stale. You need to find new avenues to go down. You need to challenge each other. You need to, find different experiences with one another that keep the relationship lively. This applies to every single thing in life. And I don't think we could stress that enough. It's so important.
I've always said that like it has to be spontaneous, because that's what keeps things interesting. And you see a lot of people today, like I feel like relationships are just not stressed on enough. Like people, they're distracted by like the material things, and that's when they get themselves into trouble, because there's a lot of people that are not staying married, they're getting divorced.
Yeah, exactly.
Like we don't put stress on, commitment to someone, and just growing with that person. I don't think a lot of people look at relationships in that way. They look at it as this concrete thing, and then you get distracted. And again, it's the plateau thing, because you get stuck in that investment of that person.
Exactly. Yep. Well, and I think speaking more on that too, I think people fail to realize that there's a lot more than just seeing things through like a shallow view, like a narrow view. People go into whatever, like relationships, like we said, or working out and stuff. The idea of becoming fit, or being in love with somebody is so amazing. You know, that's a wonderful thought, but they fail to realize there's a lot more depth. There's a lot more maintenance to it than just, going into it and saying, hey, I'm going to be happy with this. This is going to be a great thing. It takes work. It takes time. And again, people hit this plateau effect where things become a little stale. They aren't trying new things out. And overall, that's, I think, what leads to their demise, no matter what it is. I think I actually read this book once too that spoke on, a lot of things about the plateau effect, but in terms of relationships and stuff, people, honestly, it's I don't want to say it sounds easy, or not that it is easy, but in terms of relationships, when people have these problems that go wrong and stuff, where in order to fix things, to make things anew, all it would really take is like a trip to the marriage counselor or relationship counselor, or just taking like a week apart. Like, take some time for you, go somewhere, take a vacation. You don't have to do something with this person every single day throughout the week. Obviously,
Right.
that's easier said than done if you're married, whatever. I know there's exceptions to the rule.
Yeah.
But there's...
You become bonded when you get married, but
Right.
Other than that, you should still have that separation where it's not, we're 1,000% about each other. If you're married, yes, you make that commitment through marriage, but still, you have to have a balance, because you're just going to drive yourself crazy in the end.
Yep.
It's like people just don't understand that. They don't look for that. They're all, like I was saying, like the material things. Like, I don't know how you are, but like attraction, it starts physical. No one can deny that. It's, you see the person, they're attractive, but people don't always go further than that and then, get attracted to that person's personality.
Right.
And that's where they're wrong.
Yep. There's a lot of different factors that just go into every single thing, and I think the best way to go about things is understanding there's a lot more depth. There's a lot more than what meets the eye, in a sense, and not even in just terms of relationships. Again, this goes for working out. This goes for whatever that really comes to mind. You got to find an avenue around, whatever it is that's blocking your path to a better situation, a better reality for yourself. So, I don't know. There's a lot that goes into the whole plateau effect.
So let me ask you a question. What has since we like to talk about workouts, and this is kind of going along with the plateau effect, have you, recently experienced any plateau, or do you feel like you've been doing well with your workouts? You've been switching it up. You've been keeping, yourself like on edge about what you're going to do, because we've talked about this before, that you can mix things in. Like, you don't have to, like, if you're doing a program, yes, you'd be like doing the same lifts every day and whatnot, but like if you're not really, you can, like, let's just say you're doing chest, and you're hitting bench, and then you're doing like incline bench or something, but like you always tie in bench, incline bench, and decline.
Right.
Okay, well, let's say today you don't do decline, and then you decide to fuck it up and do some deadlifts. I don't know, but I like to also throw legs and upper body sometimes, mix it up.
Well, especially after you're throwing in deadlifts and stuff. That works parts of your upper body. That's just, that is, I think, the mother of all workouts. Like, that's something I think everyone needs to do in order to keep your muscles active. But to answer your question, I did. I ran into, especially in regards to lifting, I ran into a plateau. I was seeing people, they say not to compare yourself, because everyone goes at their own rate. Everyone, has different results over time, especially considering, genetics. Throw that into the equation, and you're, some people are just screwed.
Right.
But I know I hit this point with lifting where I wasn't seeing results. I was trying to gain size, being the scrawny one of the bunch. It's like you're constantly trying to find like results, and then you have people who are better with finding their results. And again, it's like the genetic, predisposition? Is that the right word? I'm not really sure.
Yeah, pretty much.
But I'm seeing all these people, like, they have these wonderful results, and, I'm just slamming it every day in the gym, just, like, going ham, and I'm like, I felt healthy, I'm getting the sweat going and stuff, and I felt wonderful, but at the end of the day, you look in the mirror and it's just so like degrading. You're like, man, I've been at this for months.
Isn't that the shitty thing about lifting though, or just being like exercising in general? You always check the mirror after your workout, and it's like supposed to be this astounding like result. Like, whoa, dude, I just got ripped in one workout, but it's like it's never that way.
Right. I wonder where we'd be at. I wonder where we'd be at if we took away mirrors. If we took away those damn things, we'd have such a better image of each other.
Exactly. I think that would be better for us. It might be hard for the girls that rely on like makeup and stuff.
Yeah, true.
But it would be good for us guys because we, I think we're all guilty of it. That us, like, not even us who lift, I'm saying just anybody that works out. They're constantly checking, maybe even some people, they have, like, high expectations, and they get on, the scale.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen a lot of people just from working at the Y, working upstairs that are a new member, and they come in and they're trying to lose weight, and they get very discouraged even if they've been in there for like a week and they haven't lost any weight.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, but you got to understand that it's not so quick. It's a lifestyle. It's a lifestyle change for some people, because you have to start eating right and you have to work out consistently. You're not going to see results right away. And even if you some people even gain weight, and they shouldn't get discouraged, because you could be replacing, your fat with muscle.
Right.
So I don't know. It's rough to see that, but I always try and encourage people that come in. I'm like, hey, you know what? Just be happy that you've been in a week straight, and you probably haven't before.
It's
That's
a
something
lot
to build on.
Yeah, you have to really. I mean, you have to give yourself props, and I'm not saying give yourself a cheat day every time you do really well. I know, because I mean, then you're not going to go anywhere.
No, you're fine. No.
But I mean, at some point, you have to give yourself credit. At the end of the week, losing. People have to realize at some point too. If you're trying to lose weight, whatever. If you're losing an excessive amount of weight each week, that's actually not good for you.
No.
I mean, I'm sure your ultimate end goal. You want to see yourself being, with less weight or whatever your ultimate goal is. But you got to realize like what's best for you, and along the way, I mean, you have to give yourself a pat on the back at some point,
Yeah.
And again, but you have to do that smart. You can't just give yourself a cheat meal. Say, okay, yeah, I did really well today. I'm gonna go home and eat a cake. You can't
I'm
be
gonna
doing
go get
that.
Mickey D's after this workout.
Yeah, it's like you have to be smart about it. You have to be able to discipline yourself enough to understand like what's good versus what's bad.
Right.
You have to. I mean, maybe I'm kind of contradicting what I'm trying to tell people, but at some point you have to, shit. I just lost my train of thought right there.
Well,
goddamn.
like, I'm not against. I just lost my thoughts.
That's really easy to do on these podcasts.
Oh, okay.
I'll tell you what.
I was gonna say, I am not against cheat days. I'm not against those.
Right.
Like, but if you have a cheat day, like let's say once a month, I'm okay with that. I don't think that's that bad.
Right.
Like, I've also heard, I don't know how true this is, this kind of goes back into all the working out type of stuff, but a guy in the gym advised me that, you want to eat well, you want to have a good diet, you want to maintain a healthy lifestyle by what you're eating, but at some point, kind of with the plateau thing, you can also throw in some really bad food for you, because it throws your muscles and everything out of whack.
Right.
And then you have to burn all that off, and then it's kind of like a reboot, just kind of like gets you restarted. So to me, I've talked to people and they hate cheat days. They're like, that's the worst thing ever. Why would you do that? If you're working out, you're eating well, 29 out of the 30 days of the month, then why would you have a cheat day?
Yeah.
It's one day.
Yeah.
Don't give me that bull crap.
Well, and I can kind of see it both ways, because if you do throw the cheat day in there, I think it's 10 times easier to fall back into old habits.
Right.
Let's say you throw the cake in there or whatever it is.
At that point, do you think it's like personality, though? If you're more susceptible to that sort of thing?
I think a lot of this stuff has to deal with mindset. And that being said as well, I think it's very important for people to really question everything they're going into. With workouts, with that topic being on mind, people should begin to question, maybe it's not so much like the intensity of my workouts. Maybe it's my dieting. Mm-hmm. And of course, like we said, it's okay if you have a cheat day, but you got to remain in that mindset where it's like, okay, I can have this day to myself, but after this, I have to continue with what I was working on this whole month. Because again, it's the whole triggers type of thing. If you have this cake around you or whatever, you're so much more inclined to eat it. Or if you have your phone around you, while you're trying to do homework, it's like it's so much easier to go check your phone when it's right next to you. If you get rid of that, if you get rid of the distractions, the triggers around you and stuff, I mean, I think that's easier to keep going, I
always thought it was funny that in college they had a class, I know at DMAC, it may have been at other colleges too, but they taught a class on study techniques. I never took it, but I always thought that was weird, because I'm sure that a lot of students take that class but would never then apply it afterwards. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? They would take this class for credit. I think it's probably like 1 credit or something. Like, it's study techniques. It's very basic. But that is supposed to help the general college student learn the typical study techniques, but everybody's different. People study different, you know? Like, and I just don't think that people actually will apply those after, especially with the generation we're in where we're all obsessed with technology. Unfortunately, we are.